Participating in the election process is a fundamental right of every Ugandan citizen according to the 1995 Constitution. But as Uganda draws closer to the 2021 general elections, many Ugandans are wondering whether they have a chance to participate in the electoral process.
Abakakiiko k'ebyokulonda tubasaba nti abalonzi bonna mu buli mbeera yaabwe gye balimu, abatalaba, abatawulira, babakolera entegeka nabo basobole okwetaba mu kulonda kuno, kubanga okulonda kwaffe ffenna Bannayuganda.
This is because of the new arrangement dubbed scientific elections. Since the Electoral Commission unveiled the 2020 scientific electoral roadmap, many Ugandans have counted themselves out.
Campaigns zinatandikira ekyo tekijja kukkirizibwa wabula abagenda kwesimbawo kubeera ddala ku president tuukira ddala wansi tubagamba nti mujja kukozesa emikutu gy'abamawulire TV, radio, bampapula, social media. In
Uganda, you find that these are statistics that are as late as 2018, only 60% of people in urban areas have electricity, and in rural areas electricity distribution is at 18%, and the average distribution of electricity in the country is at 42.6%. So the people who don't have electricity in Uganda are actually more than the people who have electricity. And these are the same people you're saying you can be able to get your candidates to get their manifestos and interface with them and ask them questions using radios, TV or internet, okay, when they actually do not have electricity. Then secondly, also statistics show that internet connectivity and usage in Uganda stands currently at 23.7%. Only 23.7 out of 100 people can actually afford or use internet. Okay, and of course internet is very expensive. We know there's an OTT tax which people tried to fight, and now you find that we were fighting it and we were not helped. Now you find that the same politicians who passed it want to use social media to campaign.
Justice Simon Byabakama, the chairman of the Electoral Commission, says scientific campaigns are the way to go amid this COVID-19 pandemic.
Okutataganya programu zammwe oba okutuukirira abalonzi bammwe naye wabula nti bannange tuli mu katyabaga tulina okwewala ekirwadde kino nga gavumenti bwezze tukubiriza.
According to the EC, the Commission is bound by Article 61, Section 2 of the Constitution of Uganda, which tasks it to organize elections within 120 days before the expiry of the term of the President, Parliament and local governments. In reference to the guidelines for conducting scientific elections, aspirants will conduct campaigns via television, radio and social media platforms. But with hardly 5 months to the election scheduled for January and February 2021, political parties and other Ugandans are yet to internalize the new guidelines. Diana Ahumuza-Teng, a lecturer at Makerere University School of Law, and Yasin Sentumbo-Mnagomba, a human rights activist, say the Constitution is clear that every person must participate in the electoral processes.
The Constitution is clear on democratic principles, where every person is supposed to actively participate in all electoral processes or in all forms of governance, and the Constitution emphasizes the fact that that participation must be by all citizens and must be at all levels. And then also one of the cardinal principles of the Constitution is the principle of non-discrimination.
From a human rights perspective, the new roadmap entirely violates a number of constitutional articles, and that's the reason as to why we thought it prudent that we come out and perhaps let the Electoral Commission know of where it erred.
Both argue that the scientific elections violate the rights of Ugandans, mostly those with disabilities such as sight and hearing impairments.
Therefore, the role of the Electoral Commission as they come up with these processes is to ensure that nobody is left behind in these processes. So when you look at the proposed roadmap which is proposing what people have commonly called a scientific campaign and sort of election in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, you find that very many people are going to be left behind. And here I'll concentrate on persons with disabilities and poor, vulnerable and marginalized. You see persons with disabilities have already been limited in terms of participation in electoral processes because of so many challenges: accessibility, accommodation. Many of them ordinarily would not be able to take themselves to a rally. They would need assistance. Now you're proposing that all campaigns are going to be online or using mass media, radios and TVs. Yet according to the statistics in Uganda, you find that these are statistics that are as late as 2018, only 60% of people in urban areas have electricity, and in rural areas electricity distribution is at 18%, and the average distribution of electricity in the country is at 42.6%. So the people who don't have electricity in Uganda are actually more than the people who have electricity.
Ahumuza predicts that if something better is not done, more Ugandans are likely to go to court before and after the elections.
I see that if the Electoral Commission continues with this kind of roadmap, we are likely to have very many electoral disputes after elections. So there are people who will just continue and participate in the process the way it is, because now they don't even have enough time to start going to court. So some people have just started, have just embraced the proposal the way it is because of time constraints, etc. But there's also a possibility that when they lose, many of them will be running to court after the elections to say, we lost because the ground was not leveled.
In that regard, a 25-year-old Seeta-Namuganga and her husband Joseph Kisa both with sight impairment, are among those who will be affected by the scientific elections in case they are implemented.
Kiwulidde kuba kakati nze nga bwe ndina emyaka 7 kyala wange naye omulaba muzibe wa myaka 25 naye nga twagadde nnyo naffe tukoleki naffe tulonde naye nga ffe wansi tukoze tufuna nga tuyita mu nsonga ng'eyo. Gavumenti ereeta enteekateeka nga bakiggala balina bye babeera, bamuzibe balina bye babeera, naffe ffennyini abalina obukosefu obulala nga ffena buli muntu ng'alina kategole mwalondera, naye katulaba nga babakireese bwe bati balinga ekyamazima batugjeemu nga ffe tetunaye tulabikidde.
Joseph Kityo, the chairperson for Namanoga village, and Yazid Zebonza, the LC1 chairman for Makenke village in Seeta-Namuganga sub-county, Mukono district, say their villages are not yet connected to the national power grid, a factor which have hindered the residents from buying televisions.
Tukoseddwa nnyo embeera kubanga twagala nnyo okubeera n'amasannyalaze, naye buli ajja baminisita bagatusuubiza busuubiza, MP atusuubiza busuubiza,
naye byako intaneti titubisobola era betujjemu ng'etuwandudde ssebo. Toyinza kulonda kisiikirize nga tolabyeko nti ekisiikirize kino alimu mu kisiikirize yaani, tosobola kulonda kisiikirize, kale n'olwekyo tuba tulemeddwa